Okay, I just read Legend by Hart Crane, and it's kind of like an introduction to all of Crane's poetry. He only wrote two published books of poems, White Buildings and To Brooklyn Bridge, and oh no, The Bridge it's called, and To Brooklyn Bridge is the introductory poem of that. In the same way, this one is kind of an introduction to Hart Crane's poetry, and it's beautiful throughout, but it's kind of hard to get the first time. And he kind of, I always find that he kind of sneaks in the beauty when you're not even paying attention to it. You know, just like um, the first thing I realized that I loved about this poem was the ending, and then now every time I read it, I love every sentence of it a little bit more. But it's all about what it takes to uh, you know give of yourself to, if you really are going to play this game and give yourself to art. It's a it is a rough raw deal. You're giving everything to it, and that's what he does. As silent as a mirror is believed, realities plunge in silence by. I don't know. Just before I continue, I don't know exactly what this poem means. I have an idea of a lot of it, but it's all his poetry is. I think it's got meanings and deeper levels of meanings. So I know that this poem's certainly about sacrifice, and um, it's about belief and willing to believe in his art. That's the impression I'm getting from it this time around. But it changes in your mind. Works of this level, poems, books, whatever. When you have when you're in when you're reading the work of a real artist, their work is going to be changing as you engage with it. That's why I think a lot of people don't like certain authors when really they probably had it forced on them to begin with, and even when they did have it forced on them, they only went with it to a certain extent. They didn't take it to a deep enough level that I think as a human being, if you can open up your soul to something, which isn't easy, it um, there's a reason that people care so much about these works. There's there's really something to be loved and something to be found in our own souls, and in just about every one of them. As silent as a mirror is believed, realities plunge in silence by. I am not ready for repentance, nor to match regrets, for the moth bends no more than the still imploring flame, and tremorous in the white falling flakes, kisses are the only worth all granting. It is to be learned, this cleaving and this burning, only by one who spends out himself again, twice and twice, again the smoking souvenir, bleeding Eodoline, and yet again, until the bright logic is won, unwhispering as a mirror is believed. Then drop by caustic drop, a perfect cry shall string some constant harmony, relentless caper for all those who step the legend of their youth into the noon. So they're literally giving their life. They're taking what they have, or the poet's gift for creating images and works that are just full of life, and they're stepping them into death, which is the noon. That you're aging yourself rapidly to do this. Um, I'm not ready for repentance nor to match regrets, for the moth bends no more than the still imploring flame. He has this way, like you're just reading something, and then you find yourself being slowed down by something, and he's making you meet him on his terms. On the poem is making you meet it on its own terms, and tremorous in the white falling flakes, kisses are the only worth all granting. These kisses to the poet are these beautiful connections, this kind of creation of art. But to us, we have this beautiful image of white falling flakes. You know, tremor. Well, you've got the moth bends no more than the still imploring flame. Kisses are the only worth all granting. Well, who wouldn't agree with that? It is to be learned, this cleaving and this burning, but only by one who spends out himself again. Twice and twice, again the smoking souvenir, bleeding iota line, and yet again until the bright logic is one, unwhispering as a mirror is believed. And then he just goes, he really shows you that he can do exactly what your favorite poets can do, and he does it in these last 4 lines, but he does it better. He does it. I mean, I'm not saying he's the greatest poet ever, but he can do just about anything that any poet I've ever read can do. Then drop by caustic drop, a perfect cry shall string some constant harmony. Relentless caper for all those who step the legend of their youth into the noon. The playing on cry and harmony, you know, just that 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 sound, that lifting sound that seems to I don't know. It has and string. Even in that word, it has this beautiful ring to it, and he's you know, and every you know, he's playing with his language in such a way, and he's doing it with words that are such perfect images. The relentless caper. That's what he's saying is the work of an artist, is that they're stealing everything, that they'll you know they're just trying to get it as, you know, as much as they can. It's this feverish, you know, this cleaving and burning. It's a moth going for a flame, you know, like that's what it is, and they're ultimately going to get burned out by the work. Okay, I'm gonna make more videos about this, but please comment, and hopefully in my next video on this one, or another video on Crane or something related to it, I'll comment. You know, I'll communicate back through the comments or through the videos. Okay, take care.